Welcome to Tapping Vegas, brought to you by Better and Green, and you guys will not want to miss the plus 100 bet I have for you that you have got to be on at the end of this episode. I've given you guys picks these last 2 weeks that have had massive returns. You guys do not want to miss it. We're breaking down Fluffy Hernandez versus RoboCop. For people who come every week, guys, Bobby is going to be on a little 2-week hiatus. He's welcoming his first little one into the world. So, Bobby, I want to say first off, congratulations for that. And also congratulations for winning the Tapology group last week, buddy.
Oh, thanks. I forgot about that.
Yeah, you might have a little something else on your mind right now. Been a little busy. So just congratulations. You guys want shout outs on the show for winning our Tapology group. Head over to Better Green MMA on Tapology. We pick all the fights. You can see all of our picks over there. We're talking 5 fights to win you guys some money. The most exciting ones. First one, not an exciting fighter. Really kind of just a turd from Russia. Is that, I know it's disrespectful to say, but is it wrong to say? Shamil Gaziev versus Kennedy Nzechukwu. Nzechukwu right now, the plus 120 underdog. Looking at the money side, 44% of bets on Gaziev, 56% of the bets on Nzechukwu, and 62% of the money coming in on the dog. Nzechukwu with the plus 120. Bobby, is the sharp lane over 50% on a plus money underdog scaring you off of Nzechukwu, and are you even going to be on Nzechukwu to begin with?
Normally I'd be a little bit scared, but considering how the odds are still pretty close on the money line here, you mentioned plus 120 for Nzechukwu, minus 142 for Gaziev. I'm not going to be as scared away from that as I would be on some of the other fights that we've covered on some of these other cards where it's been a more substantial dog that has had that heavy, sharp, and heavy public side to it. I believe Conor McGregor in that Max Holloway fight comes to mind immediately standing out to me. I know there's been a few others, but that one especially was egregious. Yeah, I'm actually going to be on Nzechukwu here. My main thing before I even saw those odds and before they were solidified, it boils down to, for me, I mean, I know Gaziev, these are now, probably pretty safe to say some pretty high-level losses, like against Perisic. He looks pretty damn good. Cortez Acosta is going to look to be perennial top 10, maybe top 5, depending on who he faces in the division. But once you take those and you look at who he's beaten, we're back to February of 2025 at this point, almost 2 years ago. Thomas Peterson's not doing it for me. Dontel Mays definitely never is doing it for me. Martin Boudet, who the hell is Greg Velasco? So dude hasn't been in the UFC that long, making his Contender Series debut last September. Don't get me wrong. Both of these guys, absolute poop. We're just trying to wrap it up in tinfoil, put some fish hooks through it, and try to sell it to you as earrings, which is what the UFC is trying to do.
Yeah.
Because Kennedy Nzechukwu, also just as terrible, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the dude went to a draw with Buchecha, lost to Walter Walker, seeming to age pretty well. Lucas Brzezinski's not really doing it. Chris Barnett's not doing it for me. How the hell do you lose a split to Ovince St. Preux in 2024? I don't know.
You called that one, though.
Right, that's true. We did. We did actually call that. I remember that. And I think Ovince St. Preux is a pretty big dog in that, too.
He was.
So shout out to us. But I think I'm going to go Nzechukwu because the majority of his wins have come by KO, TKO. The majority of Gaziev's losses have come by KO, TKO. Plus, man, there was a time not that long ago when the UFC was doing this like Kings of Africa type promo shit. They had like Francis Ngannou, understandable. Israel Adesanya, understandable. Kamaru Usman, understandable, right? You know who else was included in that? Go back and look at it. Look at those old promos. Kennedy Nzechukwu. Kennedy Nzechukwu was included in that category. Now wrap your mind around that. I still struggle. Still struggle to wrap my mind around that. This just kind of seems like a theme that Nzechukwu is going to be set up for success for, right? Just a big enough name to propel him forward a little bit, but he's just so damn bad that you're equally not as confident in it because you could easily see him screwing it up. Screwing up a horse's wet dream is an expression that I'm fond of. I could easily see that happening, right? And even just since I've been on DraftKings, it's already switched this dramatically, right? Literally not even 3 minutes ago, we had a 50-50 split according to DraftKings. Now it's shifted in that short time to 63% are on Gaziev, 37% are on Nzechukwu. So I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of continue to see these kind of schizophrenic shifts here. I'm going to hold the line at a Kennedy Nzechukwu money line because I am not so confident in it, and because they're both so equally terrible. I'm not confident enough to fully put it on the table and say KO TKO at plus 215. I'm just more than happy to still get plus money at plus 120. What do you think?
I think it was beautiful, Bobby. It's dangerous to do the MMA math when you're saying, he beat this guy, so he should beat this guy. But you have a little bit more success when you say, well, they have this aspect of their game, so it's going to translate well against this. If there's a guy that's a big-time grappler against a guy that's has no takedown defense, he might have some success there. What is Shamil Gaziev great at? Nothing. Being a blob and just trying to bully you through the first round. And a lot of the times we've seen Shamil Gaziev, he's not getting knocked out, right? Like, he's not going out cold. This dude's he's gassing and just getting pummeled at the end. And Nzechukwu, let's hop over here to our buddies at PropSpot AI. And once again, you guys want to check these guys out. We have 10-day free trial using, I believe it's Bigger, Bigger, Bigger. But look at this right here. Shamil Gaziev, Nzechukwu. The model by this AI system gives Nzechukwu a 56% chance to win versus the market's 44. So they're seeing that, there's maybe Gaziev here should be the underdog. Scrolling down, you can see he's got the age in his advantage. Nzechukwu's got the height in his advantage. 5-inch reach advantage. That's significant. 75% KO rate versus 67. Like, once again, Gaziev, his big thing is just bullying you and getting the KO. If this gets out of the first, we're going to really start seeing that range make a big difference. And 75% KO rate for Nzechukwu, he's getting more knockouts than Gaziev that doesn't really do anything that great. Everything's kind of pointing this Nzechukwu's way. And like Bobby was saying earlier. Yeah, exactly. Kennedy Nzechukwu, dude, likely by KO with a 70% finish percentage. So Bobby was saying, he doesn't know if he's going to take KO. This is backing him up here. If you're going to take a method, it's KO. Luckily, you're getting the plus 120 plus money. You don't even need to worry about it.
Right. Yeah. When you got a guy, granted, it's only 3 losses, but every single loss, like you were saying, he might not be out cold, but he's getting TKO'd from exhaustion. That's pretty telling. It's pretty telling that all 3 of those losses have been the same method. And now he's going up against a guy who wins 75% of his fights by that.
Exactly. And, just for people that aren't even the biggest UFC fans that might be watching this to make some extra money, you probably watched the White House fight. How did that Josh Hokett fight go? He didn't completely starch him. We saw 2.5 minutes in, that fight was over. Even though it made it to the second, that fight was done.
Right.
Let's talk about another fight we got coming up here. Carli Judice versus Jeisla Chaves. Judice minus 575 favorite. Looking at the money side here, Chaves 16% of the money, or 16% of the bets, 1% of the money. So at Judice at minus 575 favorite is seeing, what is that? 84% of bets to 99% of the money. A 15% sharp lean at almost 6-1 favorite. Guys, I think I know how this fight's going to end. This is going to be a Carli Judice win, and you can't take that big number. Right now they're showing you it's either going to be KO or it's going to be by decision. Bobby, let's even hop over here. I believe I want to take decision, but let's check PropSpot AI real quick for Judice. Here it is. I believe that one was decision. Yep, likely by decision. 69% chance it goes to decision. I think that's exactly where I want to be. I don't see her being, she's the better fighter, but so often in MMA, like we just saw Mackenzie Dern completely dominate Jillian Robertson so bad that her coach Dean Thomas is basically like, "Hey, yo, fuck that bitch." After her fight,
gonna corner again. We're done. We're done cornering just in general, not just her. I'm never doing this again.
Hey, yo, dude, chill, bro. That was horrible, man. I'm not a Jillian Robertson fan. I felt bad for her after that. But with that type of ass kicking, we still saw it go to decision. Give me decision here with Judice. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're pretty accurate. I like how you mentioned that. This is where it's like, well, you're a hypocrite, Bobby. No, it's just you got to analyze these statistics on a case by case basis, right?
Yeah.
Anybody can see the data, right? Correlation, causation. If you're a stats nerd like me, you know what that means. If not, it's pretty interesting. Look into it. Eddie Bravo.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, you got Carli Judice, 83% of her wins have come by TKO, right? And she has had some success translating that into the UFC against, Yunzi Dubin. I don't even honestly know who the hell that is. Nicole Kalari. She just went to decision against Juliana Miller this past February. So this is where I think prop spot's backing it up. The stats are backing it up. This has all the hallmarks of a decision, right? Because you got Chavez, who she primarily wins by decision. She has no losses. She's currently undefeated. I think this gives her that first 100%, first loss, 100% of her losses come by decision against Carli Judice. This just kind of has some makings of kind of like a low volume, just kind of like, pitter patter. Could even be dominant, like you were mentioning with Mackenzie Dern, because, hell, Mackenzie Dern almost finished it in what was that, the first or second round with the rear naked?
I
It was
thought
pretty
it
wild.
was the second, wasn't it?
I think you're right. Yeah, almost finished it in the second. It was just an ass whooping. Like she could have finished it, but it just ended up being an ass whipping. I think it's going to be very similar as you kind of alluded to. Judy's probably could finish it, but it's just going to be a dominant decision. That's how I see it as well.
Definitely kind of like you were just saying, 83% of her fights are finished, and then you throw that plus 140 out there. Kind of almost feels like a trap, doesn't it? Like they're just setting it out there, be like, oh, this is how she normally wins. She's a big favorite. Give it to her at the KO plus 140 when it's like, well, still
good
women's
point.
MMA.
Good point. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, it's another thing. It's like just enough to dangle in front of you, get you thinking you pulled a sneaky.
I like that. Let's talk about. It's not my favorite fight, but I really, really like this fight that we have here. Renier de Ridder versus Roman Dolidze. De Ridder minus 380 favorite. Looking at the money side here, 94% of bets on De Ridder, 93% of the money. So 1% sharply on Dolidze. Dolidze, not the best striker, a decent striker, but a lot of the hype behind him is he's Georgia and he's got that wrestling background. You don't want to wrestle against a guy like De Ridder. Is that factor there scaring you, or is it making you think this is going to stay on their feet, Bobby? How are you thinking this fight's going to go?
Yeah, I could be like very misled on this fight by that. I do worry it could be potentially a trap, but once again, when I'm looking at the data here, what led me to make my decision was you got Dolidze, right? You already mentioned he's going to want to wrestle. He's going to want to try to grapple, right? His problem is when he reaches that elite level of grappler and he still tries to do that game plan, right? I kind of feel like this is kind of Dolidze. He meets another grappler. He still tries to wrestle. He either realizes he can't wrestle and gasses out because he just has gas tank problems and just gets absolutely dominated, finished by a sub like Hernandez, who we'll be talking about later, did to him.
Yeah.
Or he tries to keep it a boring-ass cardio kickboxing match and either has more success than he would trying to grapple a superior grappler, but still loses, or just makes it the most boring fight and does somehow pitter-patter. Me personally, though, going off the Tapology statistics about finishes and everything, I personally like De Ridder here. I'm gonna think that he's gonna think he can do it, right? That he's gonna think that De Ridder might look a little bit soft or like an easy target to him since he lost to Brendan Allen trying to grapple, since he lost to Cal Borrello. I think he's gonna try. I think he's gonna get a little too overconfident in that. Think he can make a resurgence or something like that. And I think he's going to get caught because, he's got 20% of his losses by sub, which isn't a lot. It's only one of those fights. He primarily loses by decision when he tries to do that kickboxing shit like he kind of did against Duncan and just got pieced up for it.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be, because, 20%, but you got De Ridder. And then when it comes to De Ridder, he wins primarily by sub to the tune of 67%. That's a large enough amount right there to be statistically significant. Yeah, I think he's going to try grapple. He's going to get gassed out. De Ridder's going to get a nice little bounce back against a guy kind of perennial top 20 in the division. And then who knows? De Ridder's a bit too unpredictable. Every time he loses, he kind of feels like me when I just want to take the ball and go home. He's like, fuck this, I'm retired. And it's like, you've done this twice now, brother. You've done this against Anthony Malikin, and you've done this against Brendan Allen now. And then you came back a few months later. You're like, all right, I crashed out. I admit. I got a little overzealous. I overreacted there. I apologize. So I relate to that, man. But, yeah, I think it's De Ridder. He's pretty damn – he should have the reach advantage too. Right. Yep. 78-inch reach compared to the 76, plus 2 inches in height over Dolidze. Plus, he's a little bit younger. Not too much, but 35 and 38. That's starting to be an age range that starts to make a difference there. Yeah, I'm thinking De Ridder. Are they giving me anything good for sub, though? Because if they're not giving me anything good, I don't know.
Plus 240.
Okay. That's good enough for me to take the edge off. I think I'll be a little bold if I do say so myself and go with that.
I like De Ridder by submission too, but you remember when he fought another really good grappler in Bo Nickel, and that fight ended up via KO?
That's true.
Do you think, I mean, it's at plus 500. You can get De Ridder at just via finish at plus 140. Do you think it's worth it to get the extra knockout method? And, you know, we've seen Dolidze gas a bit too. I mean, both these guys have some gas tank issues. Do you think that's a good avenue to go down, Bobby?
I actually do. I'm glad you mentioned that. That's actually what I'm changing it to. I think just straight finish. I like that better. I'm glad you caught that. I'm glad you found that. I'm going to go just straight finish because I could see that because, he does. He also does the cardio kickboxing and gets tired. So I could easily see. I mean, this is a 3-round fight. So usually I think his past few, at least that Hernandez, I know for sure was a 5-rounder. Same for De Ridder. He's been used to fighting some 5-rounders. But, I mean, hey, man, I've also been wrong in the past, though, about like, oh, this guy's experienced with 5-rounders. A 3-rounder shouldn't be anything, and he still has the same problems. Because then I guess they feel like they overcompensate by pushing the pace. And so then it's like, dude, if you're acting like you're – you know what I mean? Like 15 minutes, you feel like you can push the pace, and you still end up having the same issue.
And I feel like there is value on Dolidze in the fact that I feel like if the odds were minus 200, you know, as De Ridder is the favorite, like I wouldn't shock me, you know. I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. Minus 3, what is he, 360, 380? It seems like a lot. I would feel much more comfortable getting him on the money line at minus 200, but not an option to us, so I like this plus 140. If it goes to decision, I feel like it's anybody's game. It's really just a coin toss at that point.
I saw somebody on Tapology. I wish I could give them a shout out and find their name. Whoever it is, you know who you are. Shout out to you for this comment. It was like 4% of Tapology picked Dolidze. Man, that's a lot of accidental swiping.
Man, this is surprising. Decision only. If finish, no action. So if somebody does get a finish, you just get your money back. De Ridder's a minus 650. When it's a decision and I feel like it'd be a coin flip, that's shocking. He's minus 650. That might be not too bad of a bet. Dolidze decision, no finish, because if he gets finished, you just get your money back. If it goes to decision, you got a chance at plus 380.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad.
That's why you guys watch the show. We just sniff little things like that out for you.
Right. Yeah, nobody else is giving you this.
Let's talk about Spivac versus Petrino, dude. Petrino minus 148 favorite. Bobby's favorite weight class out there.
Oh, yeah, brother.
30% of the bets on Petrino, despite being the favorite. 72% of the money. A 42% sharp lean onto the favorite. Spivac 28% of the money, 70% of the bets at plus 124. Wow, man, that's shocking to me. For me, even before I saw the numbers, I was on Petrino. When I just saw it, the matchup, I was like, oh, I think I'll go Spivac. But the more I dug into it, Bobby, the Petrino makes sense here, and I think those numbers just kind of justify it in my head. And at the minus 148, I can just take the money line, not have to worry about any of the methods. What do you think, though?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on this. This is another fight like the Nzechukwu fight where it's like I don't feel too confident about either one of these guys. I easily see either one winning in pretty much any fashion. So I just have low confidence on heavyweight. I've already made my thoughts about heavyweight known for quite a while now. So I'll save you that agony of, hearing me rail against the rights of heavyweights and how they're not real human beings and how we should repeal their right to vote and abolish their rights to their own bodily autonomy. And, instead of just letting them fight in cages, we just still keep them in cages, but maybe pump them full of KFC and other performance enhancing drugs and just see how big and how blobbish they can get until they push those limits of human development and then make them fight each other so it can be a little bit more entertaining than whatever we're trying to kid ourselves it is now. Yeah, I mean, I think what sealed it for me was you got a guy, right, who's calling himself the polar bear and Serghei Spivac. And there's really nothing about him that screams that aggression, right? A polar bear is one of those animals in that bear family that, like, this isn't like some black bear that gets stuck in your trash can trying to find food and gets his head in like a coffee can or something, right? Like, they have a saying, and this is going to save your life one day. So heed these words very closely, right? If it's a black bear, the saying is, if it's black, fight back. If it's brown, lie down. If it's white, say goodnight. I don't get that with Serghei Spivac. Nothing about seeing Serghei Spivac makes me think, you know what? I don't even have a chance. I'm just going to lay down, say goodnight, just try to hope this thing mauls me to death as fast and as painlessly as possible. Right. I think he's a little black bear just trying to get his head in some honey, getting stuck in your trash can. And I think you should fight back. I think you should fight back, and you could probably scare him away because once he realizes your trash can has a pretty damn secure lid on it, he's going to go try to pick an easier victim. And I don't think Vitor Petrino has an easily accessible trash can. He's not going to be a victim, all right? He's not going to just like blow a whistle, try to use some half-ass mace. No, he's going to come at you, right? He already came up against Steven Asplin and God, Thomas Peterson, man. Everybody on this damn card is that boy's daddy. I feel bad for him. Austin Lane, you rear naked an NFL level running back. How can I not be impressed by that? How can I not be impressed by that accolade? I mean, yeah, you look at Spivac's last few, it's kind of clear that this is a guy who's got a lot of wear and tear, who's been in the division for quite a while now. And you would think this is another outlier. Dude's only 31. I figured I'd pull this dude up, and I'm like, damn, I feel like this guy's been in the UFC forever. I've watched this guy forever. He's probably like pushing 40. He's only 31, dude. He's only 31. He's been in the UFC since 2019, so it's a little while to be fighting for a living. And he's just, loss, win, win, loss, win, loss, just alternating. We just know what this guy is at this point. And so, Ante Delicia's not moving the needle. Waldo Cortez, okay, understandable. Losing to Almeida, understandable. I don't know, just something about Vitor Petrino just makes me think that he's going to take this. I just think he's got the Anthony Smith guillotine in 2024 really had me shook, really had me sweating my ass off. Like, damn, this guy, am I really wanting to pick the guy? Like, Anthony Smith's probably last real combat win. Like, this guy didn't even win against his wife, right? Didn't win against the crackhead that broke into his house that was like 4 weight classes beneath him. But because he was like a former state champion wrestler on crack, like, dude, Anthony Smith, I felt so bad. The dude was trying to tell the story with a straight face, like just straight up admitting it too. Like, this guy was like 4 weight classes below me, probably like a 130-pound little spriery crackhead, and I was in the fight for my life when this dude broke into my house. It's like, brother, I admire the honesty, but I don't even know if Batman could beat that damn information out of me. Maybe you should have hyped it up a little bit, like, oh, he was a middleweight at least, or like a
Yeah.
welterweight or something. No, he's like, oh, this flyweight crackhead, brother. This flyweight crackhead almost stole my TV. But anyway, that's concerning. But you know what? I'll chalk that up to it's an outlier that was early in his career. Maybe he just had those jitters, right? Like, he kind of got gassed up off beating Anton Turkalaj or whoever the hell, Marcin Prachnio, Modestus, and Tyson Pedro. So he just kind of, let hubris kind of gas him up. So, yeah, I'm not going to choose a method, but I agree. I'm on Petrino.
And all that talking about trash cans and everything Bobby just said, that's one of a kind info you get over here. But just to back up what he was saying, this is a heavyweight fight, and you have the odds for this fight to end in a KO at plus 120 and decisions at plus 125 for a heavyweight fight. That's
just insane.
That's not good.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Usually decision in heavyweight fights are like plus 600 to 800. And, the KO is like the overwhelmingly likely method. So if they think neither of these guys are going to do enough damage to put the other, I mean, it is KO is the favorite, but by 5 points, that's a bathroom break.
Right. Things that make you go,
Yes, absolutely. Let's start with the main event, man. I'm really, really going. Got Fluffy Hernandez versus RoboCop. Hernandez minus 192 favorite. 46% of the bets on Rodriguez. 78% of the money. Huge, huge sharp lean onto Rodriguez to plus 160. Once again, though, we're talking about 78% of the bets at almost 2-1 plus 160. That's a pretty substantial number to have almost 80% of the money. Bobby, does that mean the people are going to have a good night, or does this mean, Vegas, the house always wins and it's going to be continuing down that path?
Yeah, this one, the lean does have me a little hesitant, just a tad bit. But once you kind of dive into the meat of the issue, though, and you kind of think about it, I think this is an overcorrection to the loss to Strickland, right? And I mean, it is what it is. Strickland's the champ. Strickland's an elite level fighter. None of this was surprising. Hernandez's game plan was surprising because you expected him to be a lot more active in that fight as opposed to just, let me try to walk him down and just get my face jabbed off for it, right? Like, we always knew that if it was going to be a striking match, he was definitely at a severe disadvantage compared to Strickland. But I mean, that was just baffling. Usually he's an aggressive cage wrestler. I barely remember the guy shooting at all. If he did, it was very lackluster and it was very half-hearted. He was like not his typical aggressive cage wrestling dominant self, like he was against Pereira, like he was against Dolidze, like he was against Kopylov, Shabazian, Marc-Andre Barrios. And I mean, the list goes on, man. He was one of those guys who's a prime example if he kind of struggled early in his career against Marcus Perez and got tapped out himself, lost to Kevin Holland in the first round of strikes, and then really came into his own, man. That Rodolfo Vieira fight was a huge turning point to beat, a high-level black belt. Not just black belt's a very loose term, right? Anybody can be a damn black belt nowadays. They just give it out like candy. But with the accolades, with the championships, with the proven background that he had, to just make that guy look like an amateur was when you knew that, Hernandez was going to be special. So yeah, I think this is always going to be scary because it's kind of that classic, kind of seems set up like grappler versus striker, right? And you got somebody that's got the power in their hands, like RoboCop, who's knocked out Fajea, knocked out Jack Hermanson, Brad Tavares, Dennis Tulian, just kind of knocking all these guys out. There's always that concern, right? But anytime you beat the GOAT, the man, the guy, Chidi Nzechukwu, you instantly move up on my list, bro. Anytime you beat Chidi Nzechukwu, the frozen one himself, the frozen one himself. You have
Big
my
win.
vote. You have my backing. Huge win, dude. Huge win. Most high octane, action packed. It's all said and done. 2026 comes to a close. We bring up the curtain on 2027. Start looking. I guarantee you, somewhere down the line in the next 3 years, they won't let it get to 5 like they normally do. You put Chidi Njokwani into the Hall of Fame for that fight that he just had up against Joel Alvarez. Locked in, unanimous, first ballot Hall of Fame fight right there. God, that fight, man. I could do a whole episode just about how amazing that fight was, brother. You got me pumped up right now. I gotta get back to the topic at hand, but damn, you got me ready to go through a brick wall talking about Chidi Njokwani and Joel Alvarez. So it's concerning because there's always that puncher's chance, right? And yes. I mean, I'm starting to notice that there's a little bit of grappling experience. He did in 2021. We did a few little invitationals. RoboCop did, right? Did a few little invitationals. This is an example of a guy who, had a previous, had some early experience in the UFC. Did a few little grappling matches and everything, but that's nothing compared to Anthony Hernandez, right? I think people were just a little scared after the Strickland loss. I mean, yes, Gregory Rodrigues could knock him out. But I feel a little bit more knowing that this is also a very public bet, right? That makes me feel a little bit more confident here. And I know that he doesn't have a submission loss at all on his record. He's primarily lost by KO TKO, which I don't honestly see Anthony Hernandez doing to him unless it's by ground and pound. Then maybe I might be tempted to go the other way because he did do that to Michelle Pereira. We'll see. I just like Hernandez. I just like Hernandez in this.
You just hate him on the money line then?
Well, let me see here. What do we got? We got anything good here? Let's see. What are you going to give me? You going to give me something good? You going to give me something bad?
Not great. Methods aren't great. When he's up minus 190 money line, he's plus 275 KO, plus 240 submission.
Damn. That's not terrible. Okay. A little something. What if I just go finish like I did on that one fight there?
Bobby, I'm so glad you asked that because that's it's a perfect segue into the pick I told you guys about in the very beginning of the show. This is the one you have to be on. Anthony Hernandez to win by knockout or submission plus 100.
There we go. That's where I'm going then. That's where my dog is.
Your chop is already placed on my books, man. That's, right. I mean, like you said, this is a complete overreaction. I feel like these odds, and what was the other one we were talking about? The Dolidze one. I think the bookies got these two flopped, dude. Yep. I think that one should be minus like about 200 to whatever, plus 160. And this one should be like more minus 360 plus 300. Because, I mean, Hernandez, he was pissed after that. And he knew that he didn't lose because, Strickland was just so much better or what. He let himself down, man. He knew that he didn't push it hard enough in the beginning with the grappling, and then he got too tired. And then at that point, you're in the web of Sean Strickland, and it got finished, which that was a hard watch for someone that's a big Fluffy fan. But plus 100 for Fluffy to come in against RoboCop, like you said, RoboCop, he's a power puncher. If he can get the one hit in, then that's great. But Fluffy Hernandez, all he's got to do is take RoboCop down. He might not get back up. He's also one of those that we see a lot, especially like the lower weight class guys. They're so, slippery, and they just keep working the arms and trying to get a choke in. Fluffy Hernandez is nasty with it, dude. He'll hurt you getting that choke in. He will dig his fists in there, give you everything he can to make sure that he digs in that choke and locks you up. Plus 100, man. I like that a lot. And like you said, who was it that he was punching out again? You said
Michelle Pereira.
Yes, because he got gassed out too, man. RoboCop, if he spends the first 2-3 rounds, fighting off his back, fighting off submission attempts, he's gonna be pretty gassed going to that fourth. I could definitely see Hernandez finishing him with strikes, man. just overwhelming him. I can't believe we're getting this at a plus 100, man. I would probably still bet this at minus 200. That's how confident I am in Anthony Hernandez. If you're watching this video and you bet, throw hate in the comments if I'm wrong, but I feel like this is one you have got to be on.
Yeah, this is a good one. This is a good one.
I don't know if I want to make that the fliff one, Bobby. We got a couple, like we could do Renier de Ridder as a fliff finishing fighter. Yeah, Nzechukwu. No, we're not going to do that. At the moment.
The King of Africa, brother? The King of Africa.
I know. We might do a Renier de Ridder via finish. We might do that one so I can save. You know, because I'm going to post this in premium. I don't think, man, it's hard. I want to give out the plays on social, but at the same time, I want to reward the people that watch it and you know, premium members with that pick. So we'll see what comes out otherwise. But, you know, these will come out the next couple days. There'll be a new DFS article coming out here soon, too, over on bettergreen.com. But we always finish each episode with a big plus money number. Bobby, what are we looking at, man?
Man, it's making me a little scared. We're so confident on two of these fights because I got to triple up on de Ridder and go KO TKO at plus 500.
Okay. De Ridder at the KO. Okay.
That's the biggest one that I'm seeing.
You don't want our boy Nzechukwu?
Oh
my God. Dude, his KO's plus 140.
You're right, yeah. Yeah,
no,
look at it. It's not even that high.
He's plus 215.
Not even that good. Yeah.
Good God.
Because I was going to do Hernandez, but Hernandez, they're only giving you like a +2. But I was like, man, +5 for de Ridder. And like you were saying, maybe he goes that nickel route. Maybe he wraps him up, does some knees to the body. We already like are so all in on the dude. We're already done like finish, but then you also just go like, hey, just KO also, just straight KO.
I like it. I mean, because we're pretty much on all the same picks. The only one that would be possibly higher is Petrino via sub at plus 800, but I like your de Ridder KO better than that.
Yeah, because the only other thing I can think of, Hernandez decision plus 450, but I don't know if Rodrigues is going to be defensive enough to survive.
Right. Yeah, I don't think so.
I think he's going to get finished.
We'll lock it in, man. We're locking that in right now. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back next week too. Once again, we'll have all the same, you know, graphics out. You'll have all Bobby's picks and stuff on all of our socials. Most of those are at Better Green, BETTOR Green. And Bobby, thanks for joining me, man. And I will see you soon, buddy. Peace, guys.
Peace, guys.